Good afternoon. This is the fourth meeting of the House Judiciary Committee during the 2023. I'm sorry. Is that working? Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. This is the fourth meeting of the House Judiciary Committee, and I call this. Is that working?
It's working. Let's just get you close. Let's
Okay.
get you closer and see if that helps.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Great. Good. Welcome to the House Judiciary Committee. This is the fourth meeting of the regular session in 2023. Call this meeting to order. Would our clerk please call the roll?
Representative Banta,
Here.
Representative Blanton, Representative Bratcher,
Here.
Representative Bray,
Present.
Representative Burke,
Here.
Representative Dietz,
Here.
Representative Doan,
Present.
Representative Flannery,
Here.
Representative Herron,
Here.
Representative Colcarney,
Present.
Representative Lewis,
Here.
Representative Maddox, Representative Mosier, Representative Nemus, Representative Petrie,
Here.
Representative Rawlings, Representative Sharp,
Present.
Representative Stevenson, Representative Wilson,
Here.
Co-Chair Decker,
Present.
Chairman Elliott.
I'm here. And so we do have a quorum. We're duly constituted to conduct business this afternoon. I do have a few announcements that I'm going to make prior to us getting to our business. I expect professional conduct that's appropriate and respectful of this General Assembly. So we'll have no emotional outbursts, applause, jeering, anything of that sort. First, I'll administer a warning when there's a violation of that rule, and then if it continues, you will be removed from the room. Additionally, if you do not have a seat, you need to exit the room and go to the overflow room, which is in 131, because we do not want the doors blocked at this point. So if you do not have a seat, I'm asking you to exit the room and go to 131. And additionally, well, hold on a second here. No, hold on a second. It's not appropriate to make comments out loud from the gallery. So just a warning. It's not appropriate to do that. So I want to go over some ground rules today. We're going to have an equal division of time. We're going to have the opponents of the measure. They'll have 30 minutes. The proponents will have 30 minutes, and then we will have 30 minutes for discussion in the committee amongst the members. There won't be any explanation of votes when we take our vote at 1:30, because hopefully we've been able to explain our positions in that 30 minutes of explanation. So we have, I believe, a lengthy list of those who have signed up to speak in opposition to House Bill 470, which is the item of, I'm sorry. Okay. House Bill 470. And so let's see, where are we going to start here? These are con. We need the con. So Dr. Chris Bowling is on the list, and he is signed up as con. So I'd call him forward to the table and be mindful of the 30 minutes that you have been allocated in opposition. Any of your guests have? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman Elliott. I'd like to actually introduce also Dr. Miles Joyner and Dr. Lord Grimes. Dr. Joyner will actually start off for us.
Thank you. Proceed.
Hello, I'm Miles Joyner, and I'm a proud.
Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello.
My name is Miles Joyner, and I'm a proud trans man. I'm a licensed clinical social worker proudly providing evidence-based and medically necessary gender-affirming care to children and adults. As a trans person, the first thing I want to say is I will not be crushed and I will not be made to feel small by any of this anti-trans political rhetoric. I will stand tall with my head held high, regardless of what this committee chooses to do, and I encourage any trans person who can hear my voice to stand tall and proud. Do not bow your head. We are not villains. We are not predators. We are human beings deserving of dignity and respect. Let's be clear. This bill and many others specifically speak to care provided to children under 18. But these bills do not only affect children. They impact every single trans person and every single person who loves a trans person in Kentucky. These bills encourage transphobia and make life more dangerous for all of us. As a social worker, I am ethically bound to provide honest, competent, and evidence-based care. It's actually against the law for me not to do so. This bill demands that I not provide that care. This bill asks me to go against the American Medical Association, American Psychiatric Association, and the American Psychological Association. How can you ask professionals to do that? I treat children right now, and I'm not ashamed to say that gender-affirming care for them is ethical, moral, and compassionate. I'm not just here to speak about statistics. I'm coming here to speak for specific human beings who came to me suicidal, distraught, unable to bear the pain of gender dysphoria, which is real. But through receiving gender-affirming care, these clients are thriving. Yes, they're on hormones, most of them, medically necessary hormones, and they're doing great. They're no longer suicidal, depressed, hopeless. But I promise you, if you take away their gender-affirming care, they will become suicidal again. We all know that trans people who don't have support and proper care have the highest rate of suicide of any group of people. And I also want to say, it's not hard to be trans. That's not the hard part. We're beautiful. We're wonderful. It's not an issue. The hard part is listening to this kind of rhetoric and feeling rejected every day by this culture. Who would want to feel that? Who would want to see this in the news all the time? If somebody decided they were going to deny you medically necessary care that would save your life, how would you feel? I want you to think about that, because that is what this bill is proposing. How can that be legal? Please set aside your opinion about trans people and trans health care. Set aside your opinion and listen to the experts. What are the experts saying? These proposed bills are immoral and an embarrassment to the state of Kentucky. Thank you.
Dear members of the Judiciary Committee, thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. My name is Chris Bowling. I'm a pediatrician from Northern Kentucky, a recently retired one. I've been a pediatrician in Northern Kentucky for over 30 years. I am here as a primary care pediatric medical provider representing the Kentucky Medical Association and the Kentucky chapter of the American Academy of Pediatrics, two organizations that I belong to my entire professional life, and two organizations that have advocated forcefully for the health of all Kentuckians. And I am here to beg you to not support House Bill 470. House Bill 470 will make it nearly impossible for pediatric medical providers to practice in the Commonwealth. It labels medical treatment that is the standard of care for patients with gender dysphoria as unprofessional and unethical. It mandates the revocation of the license of any provider who provides or refers to this care, and criminalizes not reporting providers who are referring for this care. Gender affirming care is the standard of care and is supported by the preponderance of research and supported by the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecology, the Society for Adolescent Health and Medicine, the Pediatric Endocrine Society, the National Adult Endocrine Society, the American College of Physicians, the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, the American Psychological Association, and the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. And what do I mean by gender affirming care? Because I have a feeling that's a little bit of a hot button issue for certain people. Gender affirming care means comprehensive care, screening for mental health of all sorts, anxiety, depression, as well as gender identity issues. And it means being able to be open to all the possibilities for these families and patients who are suffering. A gag order and the threat of loss of licensure for assisting and referral for evaluation for this care deprives Kentucky parents and patients of care they deserve at least to know about. More importantly, House Bill 470 will harm patients and families. As we all know, parenting is incredibly difficult. The challenges of parenting today are as profound as they have ever been. Parents want their kids to be safe, healthy, and happy, and they want them to become productive adults. When kids have a confusing problem, these parental worries are greatly magnified. In over 30 years of practice, I've taken care of probably several dozen patients with persistent gender dysphoria. Not patients who you watch and wait, like patients who are girls who are tomboys or things that are transient. We're talking about persistent gender dysphoria. I would like to tell you about one of those patients, and I've changed some names to protect privacy. Jeffrey is a patient of mine from birth. I've known Jeffrey's parents for years. They have several kids, all but one of them born as sons. Early on, these wonderful parents knew that Jeffrey was different from their other sons. More interested in activities typically associated with girls, and also showing an interest in his sister's clothes, they discovered that as an early teen, he figured out how to obtain girls' clothing over the internet and from friends. Approaching me about this behavior, his parents were scared and confused about what the behavior meant. Jeffrey is a good student and had recently become more sad and reserved, but also more confrontational. This loving family was fearful for Jeffrey's future, and they were worried about Jeffrey's safety and happiness. With discussion and research, they decided to investigate treatment options, all of them. Meeting with caring and intelligent physicians, they elected to pursue gender-affirming care. Today, Amy, Jeffrey's new name, is a happy college student also working full-time for a successful company that embraces its diverse workforce. She was recently in her sister's wedding and is loved deeply and fully by her family and friends. And Amy receiving that care in adolescence was critical to her current success. For Amy, for her parents and family, and for really all Kentucky teens and their families, please, please, please do not advance House Bill 470.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Elliott and members of the committee. My name is Dr. Laurie Mount Grimes. I'm a pediatric psychologist in Louisville, and I'm here today representing the Kentucky Psychological Association. I'm here to talk about children, young people dependent on adults for care, nurturance, and viability as they learn about themselves, the world, and how they fit into it. Children rely on the adults in their lives, from parents and teachers to coaches and Sunday school teachers, to usher them through their development. It works out well unless you're a trans child. Trans children will be expected to weather some of the most challenging identity issues alone because many of the adults in their lives may soon face severe sanctions for helping them. The original version of this bill included significant mental health sanctions. We are relieved that mental health providers are no longer vulnerable to penalties, but we continue to be concerned about the limitations being placed on our medical colleagues and the false dichotomy that suggests that mental and physical health can so easily be separated. Body and psyche suffer and thrive together, and the team-based continuum of care is critical. Even in its revised form, KPA has grave concerns about the toxic effects of HB 470 on the mental health of trans kids. Adults can be threatened into non-action, but that will not alter the situation for trans kids whose needs will not have changed. Trans identity cannot be legislated away, and laws should not be enacted that directly increase their angst and sense of isolation. Why do trans kids not have the same rights that non-trans kids do to be nurtured and accepted by adults in their lives and communities? At the root of this legislation is the belief that trans is not a real thing. It's no surprise that harmful legislation emerges if the very existence of the target constituency is denied. I can imagine that, as elected officials, one of the most difficult challenges is being able to put yourself in other Kentuckians' shoes, to imagine their experiences and their needs, and to make decisions that help to improve their lives. You might not have personally suffered from the devastated floods. You yourself may not have needed cancer treatment. You and your family may not have been directly affected by addiction, but you come to work to look out for the people with these experiences and meet their needs so that they can lead productive lives. This is also true of trans people. That trans is an unfamiliar concept does not erase the fact that this is their reality, and we have to attend to their needs as we would with any other person. HB 470, ironically named the Do No Harm Act, will do nothing but harm kids who deviate from the traditional ideas of girl and boy. KPA urges you to act in the best interests of the child and vote no on HB 470. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see, I'm going to call up Rebecca Blankenship, who is signed up in opposition. So introduce yourself for the record and please proceed. Thank you.
Sure. I'm Rebecca Blankenship. I'm the Executive Director of Band Conversion Therapy, Kentucky. Thank you all for having us here today. I'll be brief. I wanted to say, we've exchanged some emails with some of the folks on this committee, and we appreciate your willingness to dialogue about this. Representative Decker, you're somebody that I have had the pleasure of knowing for some time, and I genuinely respect you and believe that you care about preventing suicide for trans kids. This morning, I sent you 357 pages of research, the small amount that I could cobble together in 18 hours since this hearing was announced, that I think validate the things that our friends were just saying. The standards of care that are compiled by the World Professional Association for Trans Health are extensively researched across multiple disciplines and combined in such a way that they are designed to provide the maximum benefit to children, while also including guardrails for children who may present or claim to be trans and then later turn out not to be. I think that we'll hear from people today who have detransitioned after transitioning. I'm not here to tell anybody that those experiences are invalid. There are certainly tales that we hear of people that regret undertaking transition. The numbers tell a different story, though. Over 99% of people who transition find their lives to be happier, healthier, and something that they stick with in the decades that follow. I myself am a transgender woman, and I came out 10 years ago, and I can tell you it was a life-saving thing. I'm so grateful to you all for carefully weighing the evidence that is at stake here. And I ask you, please, to disregard anybody who tells you that a bill can be judged on the basis of whether it is common sense or not. These are not things that we should be deciding on the basis of feelings. They should be decided on the basis of facts. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Fran Wagner, League of Women Voters, please come forward, and you're signed up in opposition. So introduce yourself, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Chairman and committee members. I'm Fran Wagner. I'm president of the League of Women Voters of Kentucky. After substantial study, the League of Women Voters is committed to work for health care policy that provides affordable access to a basic level of care for all U.S. residents, and that includes behavioral as well as physical health care. House Bill 470 blocks that care for Kentucky's children who identify themselves as transgender. Those children are Kentucky treasures, like each and every other child in our Commonwealth. The League of Women Voters of Kentucky respectfully urges committee members to vote no on this discriminatory, unhealthy, and unkind bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wagner. Let's see here. Chuck Eddy, you're signed up as an opponent. Are you in the room? Yes, sir. Please come to the table, introduce yourself for the record, and make sure the green light is on so we can record your testimony.
The green light is on.
Thank you. Proceed.
Just very simply, I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm retired. Spent a lot of years working 65 plus hours a week. I'm a friend of the LGBT community. I'm a Christ follower. I believe that all of us are made in God's image. I also believe that's not just physical, that's mental, emotional as well. I'm totally against this bill. I think it's cruel and unusual, and I really hope that you guys do not forward it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Chris Hartman from the Fairness Campaign, you're signed up as an opponent. He may not be in the room, so we'll wait for him to come into the room.
Apologies.
Please have a seat, and if you'll introduce yourself
Yeah,
for
I'm
the
so
record.
sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be brief. I don't have my testimony in front of me because I was on sheet number 2, which I never thought we would get to. But my name is Chris. I use he, him pronouns. Had to run down the hallway. The main thing I'll say is check your email.